Greetings, everyone, and welcome to New Gamemaster Month, a month-wide event in the month of January created by MonteCook Games to celebrate new Game Masters. During this month of January, we will be doing some weekly events here at the Guild's channel with some very special guests. And for today's talk, how many of us have run published content from the beginning to end, only to look back at it and go, that was disappointing? And as you all, if you saw the reel today, I'm looking at Tyranny of Dragons. They know what they did. And you were wishing that you had done it differently. And how many have we run that were actually really good experiences, both as masters and players, that no change whatsoever had to be done? Well, this event is where we present the ultimate face-off, homebrew or official. So a selection of both of the Guild's Game Masters and some friends of the Guild, who are also Game Masters, will have a talk about their preferences, if official content should be left as is, or if a sprinkle or a bucket is needed to make the experience more enjoyable. I'm your Guildmaster Aryn, as you all already know, and I'll be your host for tonight. And I'll be joined by Afonso. He's an actor, playwright, director, and game master. He is the founder of Teatro à Faca, a theatre company based in Lisbon, and Teatro à Espada, a project that aims to explore synergies between theatre and TTRPGs. His favorite game is Mothership RPG, even though he absolutely hates scary media. We have Santas. He is an enthusiast of TTRPG who loves running short campaigns and one-shots in various narrative game systems with fantasy, horror, western, futuristic settings, and a bit of everything. He hosts the monthly TTRPG meetings in Rio Maior and is usually active in the TTRPG community and wants to get the entire Portugal playing. Honorable goal. We have Aryn, the Storydad. He's a charismatic tabletop role-playing game creator and storyteller, known for blending heartfelt narrative with sharp humor and immersive world-building. As the founder of Another World, he brings together compelling characters, emotional stakes, and collaborative storytelling to create unforgettable actual play experiences. Whether guiding players through moments of triumph, tragedy, or chaos, Storydad's style centers on connection between characters, creators, and community. And lastly, but not least important, we have our story weaver, Alexey. He is the newest member of the guild staff. You know him as Grom in Curse of Strahd. And you also know him as the game master for our Daggerheart game, A Book of Elrond. And he's going to be also joining us today. So without further delay, let's meet our guests and have a guild talk. So, how is everyone doing?
Hey.
Hello. Oh, hi.
I'm doing good.
Hi. Hello there.
All right.
Are we ready to completely dunk on published content? Huh? Yes? No? Maybe?
Yes, maybe. We'll see.
I've ran a good module.
A good module is a good start.
At least there is one.
I was taking my time to look at my shelf where I have all my games, trying to figure out what I have run, as in published things, and yeah, not much. Not much.
Yeah. So in that vibe, we're going to start off with the first question I have for you all. So some of you have already answered. Have you ever run published modules before, or for any systems at all? Not just D&D, but we can start with Afonso, since you were the one that was looking at your collection.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. Let me look at my collection a bit more. I have never run D&D written module. Even though, yeah, I run a ton of D&D, I have never run a written module, or officially a written module at least. I think I have ran twice modules written by friends, but that was it. Yeah, other than that, I have a couple of homebrew worlds where I like to run my things, because I've done a lot of prep for that. Other than that, I have run, and now that I'm looking at it, I have run things from Daggerheart, Avatar, Mouse Rider, Frontier Scum, Mothership, and a couple of others that were official, but not like in long form. Let's say I've never ran campaigns around modules, only one shots. Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm probably missing a couple of them, but trying to see if I missed anything. Maybe not. Maybe yeah. I don't know. It's very late for me. I am an old man. I should be asleep by now.
Brother, you're not that old, okay? You're
The,
not
the
that
nap
old.
wasn't a nap. He was pre-gaming.
Yeah.
Okay, so following that, Alexey, I already know what you're gonna say, but chat doesn't. So go ahead, friend.
I might actually surprise you. I have run, but I haven't finished one, which would be. I already forgot the name, but it was Stormwreck Isle.
Dragons of Stormwreck.
So Dragons
Isle.
of Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. That is something that I started DMing for purely family. Getting my younger brother and my cousin, one of my younger cousins, into D&D, into the world of TTRPGs, since he was kind of already pestering me for a while, like, dude, like, I really like D&D, like, I kind of like, wow, this is my thing, storytelling, fantasy, yada yada, kind of like one of those nerds, just like us. So I was like, hey, yeah, definitely, one of these days I have to run it for you. And I tried it out. It was an interesting experience, to say the least. And beyond that, my journey into the RPG started purely out of the beta PDF for Humblewood that I found somewhere on one of those like free PDF sites, because I was a poor, broke college student trying to get into D&D for the first time, and I was like, yo, this Humblewood thing is awesome as fuck, like birds and like gerbeens and stuff. Like this is like Bloomborough, like yes, even a Bloomborough came out later, you know what I mean. Like it's awesome, the whole vibe and everything. I was like, sure, let me try that, just because I don't really, ironically, the WotC ones felt at the time too nerdy, in the sense that we'll probably delve deeper later on why I felt that. But Bloomborough felt that it had openness and whimsy at the same time, which could help me kind of like understand how D&D worked as a system, how TTRPGs worked as a whole dynamic with a group and a DM and all of that. So very quickly ditched the PDF the moment I understood how the car worked. And yeah, it wasn't Jesus take the wheel. It was like, hey, cool, let me just drive off the bridge and into the canal. Now we're hydroplaning. Like it's what it is. So that's kind of what it went like. Homebrew all the way from there, basically, with that little Stormwreck Isle experience. But Homebrew is
Honestly,
where I live.
Stormwreck Isle is possibly like it's not one of the, but it's a good module. It's not one of the best, but it is a good module. It is not of the. It's not on the bag with the other one.
Yeah, there are some things that we'll delve into.
Yeah. Okay, Santosh, what about you?
Yeah, I'm like Afonso. I didn't run anything, any module in D&D, but I read some like Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, because I was trying to learn more about the lore on Hell and Avernus specifically. I love that lore. And also something about Tomb of Annihilation. I read some of that as well.
Classic.
But just some, not the entire module, but more focus on the lore. always. So I could run some sessions on my own with my own writing. So basically, like Afonso, I did run some adventures. Typically, they come in the books, like Frontiers come. There's an adventure there to run. And Candela, Daggerheart has also official materials of first, let's say, mini campaign or one shot to run. So for those systems, typically I like to grab those adventures to start with the system. But D&D was the exception because D&D was all the way homebrew from the very first beginning. And then for other systems, typically I do that. Yeah, and that's basically my experience running models.
Okay. And Storydad.
I might have the most experience here running modules. I've been doing weekly TTRPG games for like 18 years. And I used to run old second edition Dungeons and Dragons published material, old VTM modules from like before 20th anniversary edition came out, like Diablerie Mexico and stuff like that. I've run a ton of D&D 3.5 modules, and like Red Hand of Doom and the Return of the Red Hand or whatever it was called, the second one to that. I think it's Dragon Queen, the big Tiamat module for 3.5. I've dropped out for 4th edition, but I've done a ton of module content and like taken little bits and snippets and added it to like Homebrew. Because I was just an upcoming DM. Like I didn't know how to do anything. I bullied my friends into buying the 3 core books, and then cops, if you're listening, turn your headphones off. I pirated a shit ton of many modules from all over the place, because like the second editions were, I've run Tomb of Horrors, I've run White Plume Mountain, all of those horrid modules from back in the day that were just meat grinders designed to make you have a bad time and get mad at your friends. And I've also crawls. Just dungeon crawls. I've also done like the big episodic adventures and stuff, and I've done beta testing for like third-party publishers of Candela modules. I've done all sorts of stuff. That being said, modules suck if you don't actually like have a good grasp of the system and like CR. When it comes to D&D specifically, CR is a complete crapshoot, and you can essentially throw it away, and everything is context based for your party. And like, cool, a shadow is a CR2 creature. A group of level 2s should be able to defeat it, no problem. If all of those poor bastards have really poor AC, they're just going to have their strength drained, and it's done. So like, it totally depends. But I've run the gamut, man. I've been running games for so long. I've played a ton of modules, and I've come out on the other end thinking, most DMs, me, you, all the folks at home, you can do it better. But cut your teeth in the way that you need to first.
I have to ask though. The ER kind of thing. Was it the Trove? Back in the day,
it was so the Trove.
Yeah,
the Trove.
Yeah,
what
that
you
went the way of the
unlocked?
dinosaur. Or it was like it was private server links on Giant in the Playgrounds to like, it was stuff like that. It was people that had like had taken stuff from Trove and done that. Yeah, of course it was Trove. Everyone used Trove.
Trove was yeah.
I forgot about the Trove, dude.
Yeah.
What did you unlock on me? Oh my god! Now I'm sad.
Yeah, it was wonderful back in the day, the glory days.
All right. So out of you have way more experience than me. I've been DMing and playing for like 11 years now. So yeah, you have almost a decade ahead of me, bro. Okay. Well, as for myself, I have a very love-hate relationship with Curse of Strahd since it's probably the 8th time I'm running it. I have a hate relationship with Tyranny of Dragons, as all of you know, and I'll keep having it. Other than that, I also DM Lost Mines of Phandelver. I TPK'd my first party ever in Lost Mines of Phandelver. And aside from that, everything was probably homebrew. Yeah, not much else was modules. So we just, like Alex said, threw the keys out, yabba dabba do this shit, and off the bridge. So yeah.
You only need the car frame. Everything else, just make the noises. That's all you need.
And since we will see, now picking that back on the throw the keys out, since all of us jump straight into the deep end with homebrew, for those that never touch the module, what made you think, like, you know what, I'm going to do this my own way right off the bat, and whatever happens, happens. And were you comfortable when you got to work on it?
Teacher.
Yes, Alexey.
I mean, that is kind of literally like how I started playing. Is like, it was purely just for context and rules, because like, no, not even rules, because I am sure pretty much everyone else in this call would agree that before you even start playing, you spent months obsessing over rules and how the system even works to begin with. But I already see a no. But like personally, like most of the people that I knew, maybe not months, I might be exaggerating. But personally, like from the people that I've talked about, it's always the people that spent such a long time like, oh, I want to play this, and then for months no one has a schedule that matches, so you're kind of stuck there trying to might as well learn the system. And at least that was my case, and some other people that I know, where I basically spent like a good 3 months learning the system. Finally, actually by serendipity, found a group of friends from childhood that was like, yeah, sure, let's do that. Started playing, and absolute anxiety kicked in. Like nothing, I didn't know how to start, how to, like, what am I supposed to do exactly? I know in theory, because from seeing Critical Role, I know how it goes, but like, how do I do it myself? So Humblewood beta PDF kicked in there, gave me like a starter, like the first, like the baby steps that I needed, where they started, where they were going, how they met, or how they eventually got to meet each other, and what were the objectives for the story, and etc. And as I was reading it, even though Humble is very good, and for those of you that want to go with modules or are thinking of running one, if you can get Humblewood, please do. It's very good, and it's probably from those published models that kind of honestly are but aren't WotC, because they're not WotC, but you can find it on D&D Beyond. It's one of those like high tier third-party publishers that like is always better than the original, so just go with that if you want to have a first experience. It's very good. But why did I drop it, like Ari said? It was mostly because it wasn't just I wasn't vibing with the constraints, and even though they're not there to like constrain you, they're there to guide you. It was just like more of a creative clash than anything else. I'm sure, like the same way that Santa here like had that whole moment of learning about Avernus, that's kind of what I started doing years after I like delved into D&D. Is whenever I pick up a module, it's purely for what can I steal from this that fits my homebrew? What can I take and absolutely just kit bash into what my story needs right now? Because from my players, for Aryn and anyone else in the chat that might be a player of mine or played with me, you know that even though I do have like a general end goal, maybe like some idea, I'm not the biggest prep heavy DM. But you know, sometimes I might buckle down and do like a bunch of homebrewing, but that takes so much, like, it's so exhaustive because you have to balance stuff and it has to be interesting and thematic and so many different things. So what I eventually do, like occasionally when I was still building up my experience, was find a pirated module. I had a pen, USB flash drive that I just threw as much as published content, homebrew or otherwise, in it as much as I could find. This is dope. I'm going to take this. Yeah. And I pretty much looked at it. Okay, this is cool. This is cool. That's broken. I don't like that. This doesn't fit. Okay, cool. Change the name. Boom. And that's my new stat block for next session. Done. Easy as pie. While other things I was like, oh, this is actually perfect from start to finish. I'm just going to rename it or reflavor it. Like, that's all I did, essentially. Until I pretty much just learned to walk on my own. And like years later, I just do stuff off the cuff, or I am already so used to having that mental library of references that I just do it by myself, and like eventually dip back into like maybe a module or two. Like for example, I think like one person here I know got lucky in whole Lisboa's whole Rifas. I forgot how to say it in English.
Raffles.
Yeah, there you go. I'm looking at you, Afonso. Raffles, yeah. I really wanted to get some of those modules, not because I wanted to play them. I wanted to study and steal them. That's all I wanted them for. I wanted that reference to fall back on, because kind of to finish off my ramble here, this kind of goes into the system part as well, where even though I know the rules, pretty much most of them, or the core ones by heart, when I got my DM's guide from 2024 and ran my first session with it just next to me, dude, it was such a breeze, because I'm not like reading it, but having it there, and whenever I needed something, like I already had like the little post-it mode, open it up, and this happens, and I just go from there. It's just so easy. It's just like literally like electric car autopilot. Like it was such a breeze, because I didn't have to think. I didn't have to I just open. I know exactly what I need. Pick it, throw it, done. So kind of the same thing that I do with modules.
If I may jump in.
Yeah, sure.
So, like Alexey said, I totally agree. I loved, because I love to create my own stories. I think all of us are full of stories inside. But then there's also a lot of work building the lore, cities, etc. And most of that work in D&D, for instance, is already done, right? So in my case, I used a lot of lore of D&D to build my one-shots and my mini campaigns. So everything, the characters, etc., are mine, but sometimes I use cities, the map, some factions, maybe, and specifically on D&D. I started playing D&D. I just read a little bit of the basic rules. And it was during pandemics, so we found the group first, so people were interested. We were just 3, and we started playing without knowing the rules, without knowing the concepts, without knowing anything. So for instance, we just knew that we need to throw some dice to understand if we hit or not. But even that, so just to catch this small example, the AC, the armor class, we were using it wrong. We were using AC as a health pool as well. So it was the health pool of the armor. So
interesting.
So as you see, I think it was easier this way, because we trust in each other. We were friends, so we were not afraid to fail. Okay, so we just wanted to play, and we grab some basic rules and we start building on that. So after some weeks or months, we start to understand, hey, we are doing this wrong, because AC is supposed to see the threshold to see if you win or not. And
You had the vision of Daggerheart, or how it will be, and you just...
yeah.
Dude, like that AC pool is kind of like, why is that low-key a banger mode though? Like, why is that low-key better than 5e AC? Like, why is that actually banger? Like,
Yeah.
that is so true. Also, to answer Lobo, I was just thinking how this is exactly like what Ari said about, like, oh yeah, Daggerheart. Everyone was having Daggerheart in their mind before Critical Role was like, we actually have resources to do what you're thinking, but we are doing it first.
Yeah. Yeah, but basically, yeah, I started totally on brew, even for the rules, as you see, monsters, etc. And then I was learning in the process and starting using the official rules and everything that was official, except for the adventures, because besides the lore and the monsters, even the monsters I create things on my own. So I homebrew almost everything. And regarding the, I think it was easier for me because I trust the people I started to play. But if even today, when I play with strangers in some community events and so on, I think I don't risk that much. Even if I played the first time the module, that happened with strangers, I will rather to pick some small adventures that comes with the book and start, not for D&D, just, I mean, for light rules TTRPGs. I like to grab the adventure, I read it, and then, of course, in the middle, I will do some homebrew as well, some sparkles of homebrew. But yeah, that is my experience.
Well, let me jump in since I'm the other person that hasn't run modules. Saying that I started out a bit differently. I think I've been kind of playing in the same sorts of world since I was like 5 or 6 years old or something. Because, well, I'm now 30, but the concept for the homebrew that I'm still running to this day came to me as I played with Legos and Playmobil and all of that. And I still am, I studied theater, but I still am a writer, more to the playwright side of things, but I still am a writer. So that world creation aspect to it always came very naturally to me. So it's quite different. When I started to learn about the game, I looked at it, and what I loved about it was that, for example, when I played an RPG as a video game, it always gave me strict choices. So you can choose A, B, or C, or D tops. And as soon as I started to learn about this, and I was studying at the time, the first time I played, I think it was 2016, so 10 years ago, that I played, not that I mastered. And I was studying in Paris, theater at the time, and I had a very, very, very amazing game master for a friend who told me, yeah, you need to come around and try it for yourself and see how you feel about it. She was running AD&D, so second edition at the time. So first time I ever played anything, I had to deal with Thaco. Never again. Never again. Haven't it's
thrown in the deep end.
Yeah, I got thrown in the deep end. Not not taking a second glance at it. But when I came back to Portugal, I also got sent a PDF of the Player's Handbook by a friend, and I had tried it out on the second edition, kind of learned it. And it was very natural to me to like, okay, let's I see that there are monsters here. Let's just use those. I see that there are, there are ideas for factions. Sure, there are ideas for how to deal with things. I was actually not doing a lot of monsters in the beginning. I created playable characters for all my enemies in the beginning. So, for example, if I had a fight, I mean, the first 3 months that I was playing in, if it was a monster, it was a monster, right? But if I had like an NPC that was a guildmaster for the Thieves Guild, let's say, I would create like a mastermind rogue or something along those lines, just because it felt right to put all of that effort into it. Nowadays, then as I started like I don't know, getting to know myself better and getting to know my the play culture that I'm involved in, the type of master that I like to be, the type of experience that I like to provide my players, and the type of players that I also like to have at my table, knowing that I'm very, very much a role-play heavy, theater of the mind kind of master that will absolutely spend 4 sessions in a row just talking around the campfire with my players if it's what they want. We kind of get into that, and as I started to learn more about that, I started to be able to proc the world more into what I want it to be. All of that to basically say that I have never even looked at a module, and I did win a book of adventures in the raffles at Lisboa, and not only that. Yeah, do you want to know the funny part about it? About that, as soon as it came out, like, and next we are going to what's the name? We're going to be raffling keys from the Golden Vault. Yep. We are going to be raffling that next. And I literally turned to the side to a friend of mine, and I said something along the lines like, "Who wants that?"
Me in the
back. Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll get that, and I took it, I opened it, I looked at the pretty pictures, and it's been on my shelf. I haven't had the time.
Item.
Yeah. I haven't had the time to look at it, but just following along within the homebrew kind of style that I like as a GM. Not only am I consider myself to be a world builder, and I consider myself to be, I'm currently, that I think that's also important. I've been GMing in this homebrew world for 7 years now, with very different parties, different timelines. I've done live plays on it. I've even within the world, we've been to different sorts of planets, let's call it. I've played in around like 170 different planets within this homebrew. So it's very expensive. And what I like to do, basically, and it might sound strange to you, I wouldn't read an adventure and study it because I am very and extremely lazy. I like to create the world, and then I just know the world inside out, and that's it. Yeah, I know the world inside out, and I don't need to prepare for the sessions. And that's basically it. I need to know what happened with my players, and I know so much about what's going on everywhere. And currently I am playing I'm running 3 weekly campaigns on the same homebrew world, 1 monthly for the live plays, at least. So I'm running around 13 to 14 games within the same world every month. So I just know it too well.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Storydad. I suppose we both had similar experiences when it comes to homebrewing. Opens the module. I'm gonna run this. Runs the module. I don't like this. Jumps. Yeah.
Typically, yeah.
Care to elaborate?
Sure. Yeah. So I've run so many different modules over the years. I think I can name 5 that I like out of maybe like 50 to 60 modules run ish. And oh boy, you'll pick it up and it sounds so cool because the story that a lot of I don't like to admonish like the writers of a lot of these modules, like
no hate
like
to
because like the
writers,
3
by the way.
point, yeah, no hate to the writers or anything like that, but like I bring up Red Hand of Doom a lot because it's like it's such an amazing introduction to Dungeons and Dragons if you're playing within like a D20 setting, but like that module was literally written by Chris Baker and MonteCook, like the people that literally invented 3.5 Dungeons and Dragons, the person who wrote Eberron, like those are the people that like wrote this thing. So it would make sense that they have like some of the best grasp of, balancing and et cetera, et cetera. So I love that book. It's on my shelf. It's great to like read these books and it's like, wow, what a cool story. Yeah, you start as this adventuring group, you're starting in this village and you have to go and like empty out this keep and it's got an ogre in it and and you slowly uncover this amazing story and all of these different things. And then usually the thing that I find lacking is like absolutely no way that a module in most occasions can accommodate for what a party composition is actually going to be. No module is going to be like, oh, there's 3 sorcerers in your party. Every single one of them has magic missile. And these first 15 encounters are going to be nigh on trivial because they're going to keep on using the things that they're good at. And the things that they're good at are contextually intensely effective against what's in the module. Or like your character's using some sort of power build. Or your adventuring party just doesn't go at the combat the way that it was supposed to be written, and like that's fine, that can be fun, but it can throw a massive wrench in. So you find yourself usually homebrewing things and tweaking them to the point where it almost deviates too far from what's in the written material to start. So like you're running through this module, you get halfway through, your player characters are like level 8 or 9 or whatever that it usually ends at for most of the longer term modules. And then suddenly things will fall apart because somebody got limited wish, or like somebody will get access to something that they keep abusing to like do X, Y, and Z, or God forbid they get teleport and then nothing in this module matters because it's based on one geographical location and they could just keep teleporting around the map. And like, it's like, oh, that dire circumstance, like the time is ticking and you have days to accomplish this and what a hard march this is going to be for your party of like a fighter, a rogue, a cleric, and a druid. And it's like none of that matters. Somebody took a wizard, they have teleport. Like there's so many things that you can't account for with party composition and the decisions of player characters. So modules can just easily fall apart, and a lot of it doesn't have concession for that. So I'll get into the weeds with a module. I'll think it's super cool. I get wrapped up into the story. Shout out again the writers because they're usually good. You're descending into Avernus. You're traveling to the lost mines of this cult town. You're traveling into the Feywild to join the circus, etc., etc. These are all super cool stories. And then you get halfway through it, and it's just like, man, we completely dog walked every single encounter. The skill checks that they suggest in the book were completely trivial because we actually know how to build a character. So I've come to terms with that I want my characters to have some buy-in. If somebody wants me to run a module, absolutely. I need you all to make like some pretty regular characters that you can still have fun with. Don't try to break anything, and there needs to be buy-in. There needs to be that, like, everyone's on the same board. We know we're running this. We're not going to try to break it. We're going to try to immerse ourselves into this really cool story that the publication team has taken the time to present to you. Otherwise, yeah, I really just use it as like a piecemeal a piece of literature that I take what I want and I'll log that away in the old memory banks for later. Yes, I want that template. Yes, I will take that encounter. I will take pieces of this story. I want the lore. Like it was said earlier, yeah, absolutely. Descent to Avernus is like the sort of like manuscript for like how hell works within D&D. What a great exposition of what the 9 hells are within the Dungeons and Dragons setting and how you can go and immerse yourself in that. Man, that sure doesn't matter when like the first quarter of this module is you're in Baldur's Gate and it sucks and like it's just kind of lame. So you know, and any party that's worth their salt is going to get to the end of that. Spoiler alert, everybody! Spoiler alert is going to get to the end of that module and just beat the brakes off of Zariel. It's not even going to be close. Like she's going to get grounded, and she's going to get like it's going to be dominate monster, and it's going to be like smite after smite after smite after smite after assassinate after assassinate, and it's like cool. Your pool of 600 HP meant we had more than 3 turns of combat, and that's all that she wrote. Like it's so long-winded way of saying, I think context is everything, but modules by and large are, I think they're a pale comparison to what a GM can come up with. I think it's a great tool for getting in, but I have GMs in my circle, I have players in my circles, and they have all come up with things and settings and stories that I think would completely, like, it would make you throw away any like the greatest published module of all time. It's like, oh no, like the things that went on in this person's head and the way that they can curate that to the players that are at their specific table is always going to way overshadow anything that is published.
I may add in on what Storydad said. So I think it's what he said, and more than that, because we are all different. Players, GMs, we have our styles. Afonso, for instance, role play heavy, right? But there are GMs that like combat heavy, and players as well. So I don't believe there's a model that will fit all the party compositions and GMs, right? Tastes. Even in the setting, people like violence or more dark things or more fantasy or more romance. So it really depends on the tastes of the players and GM. So I think it's very hard to have a module that will fit all. Like Storydad said, I think we require to have the mindset. We will play this story as it is. We have a few paths that we can follow if we want to follow that straight, right? Yeah.
Might I just add something? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. It's fine.
No, because I was thinking about it, and what Storydad was saying about how we've all met GMs that are most likely to be able to, or have written or DM'd the campaign that is far superior than most modules. But I have to say, and even though I play a lot of D&D, I think I do like 50-50 between D&D and a bunch of other systems. Like just last year, I GM'd around 27 systems, I think. So it's a bunch of different things. And there are a couple of systems that do modules really well. And for instance, when I say that, for example, Mothership is one of my favorite systems, their adventure modules, I would never be able to come up with some of the things that they are able to come up with, because it's a work of love. It really is. When you read a module for Mothership, for example, there is one in specific called Gradient something, that is, first, it's incomprehensible. You need to read it like 3, 4, 5 times to even be able to grasp what it's about and what's going to happen, let's say. But there is a major difference, and not to shit on Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, but come on, they are very commercial and very capitalistic in the sense that there's no love in what they put out. And if you go into other types of games, if you go into a lot of the OSRs that are being put out, if you go into Mothership, into Mouse Raider, into whatever, there are tons of games coming out where the adventures are made with such passion and such love that they do feel like you're not... I mean, if you think of a campaign as your own baby, it feels like you're holding someone else's baby, but it's still a baby and not just here, take a product that I kind of created so it would fit a lot of playstyles and a lot of things and a lot of people, and it ends up doing nothing. That's a bit of what I feel. And when you get to those games and to those adventures, you can really get into what, for me at least, and what I've experienced and what I've read, even though I haven't GM'd them, I have read a lot of modules. Those, I would say, motherships are the ones that are so incredibly crafted. It's insane.
Just to add a little footnote.
Oh, okay. After you.
Sorry, just because like I mentioned it to what Afonso was saying. I mentioned that little section about when I was looking at modules from actual Wizards of the Coast, and they felt too nerdy, right? And then I pivoted to Humblewood. That's exactly what I meant. That's exactly what I meant when you were talking about Hasbro and Wizard. And it's so commercial. It's such a... Like, you can look at a shelf of modules, and whether you have experience or not, you can point out exactly which ones are cash grabs. That's the thing here. Like, there are a bunch of them where you can look at them like, oh, that's a cool thing that they were trying to do. And there's other ones that you're looking like, yeah, this is like your typical like jock's idea of what a nerdy D&D module / campaign / world is. Like, it's so blatant that it like exactly like Afonso said, it's not as passionate. At least it doesn't feel as passionate. It doesn't feel like someone else's baby as other modules from other systems, because it doesn't have it's a husk. And sure, a module is supposed to be a vessel for your storytelling, your style, your just overall what you are going to tell with your party, because that's the point. You're telling a story with your group, and your choices are going to be so unique that whatever story that you follow, whatever path, whatever choices that you make in a module is still going to be unique to you. Now, there's a difference between having a beautiful 6th century Chinese vessel that was made with love and adoration, and like it's so delicate and so beautiful, between a fucking vase from IKEA. Like, you cannot compare both, and it's so obvious to which one is a mass production to sell and which one is an adoration to be appreciated. And like, that is like such a banger thing that you said about, like, it's exactly what I was thinking when like I'm looking at modules. Like, this feels too nerdy, but not in like, I'm a nerd, I know exactly who I am, but like this feels like a nerd cosplay. Like, there's something about this doesn't like it's like you're trying to like put a Lego Duplo and a Lego block, and then like there's a mega block somewhere there. Like, nothing is fitting exactly as it should. But yeah, that's what I wanted to add there. It's exactly right.
Yeah, and just to complete, if I may. So I totally agree. I felt more love in things that were built outside of D&D. So modules that are outside of D&D, maybe because there's not that much commercial part on those systems and the authors. And I want just to show 2 modules that I think that are beautiful products. I didn't play. Maybe they are shit, but and I think Afonso
They're not.
one.
They're not. They're amazing.
Yeah, and this is for Frontiers Camp, and this is for Morkborg, and this is two vinyls. So it's a box with a vinyl, and inside the cover is a dungeon screen master. Dungeon Master screen, and it has the vinyl there. It has the materials to play the campaign, and I believe these are pieces of art. And basically, I bought just because of the concept. And I will play it, and I want to play while I'm hearing the vinyl, and so I think there's much love on products like this, and I don't find it on D&D. For instance,
in this house, we stand Games Omnivorous and Dead Robots and the Drenov, and that day.
Excellent work.
Those vinyls are amazing. Yeah. I've only heard Tides of Rot. I haven't been able to play it, but I love Frontiers Come, so that's
I love as well.
We had Joe in chat teasing me because, like, saying, and then there's Curse of Strahd, right, Aryn? And like. Curse of Strahd. Okay, Curse of Strahd is that kind of module, right? That is amazing in concept. Okay, just like Tyranny of Dragons is amazing in concept. They managed to make a better job with Curse of Strahd than Tyranny of Dragons. Okay, the module is solid. I really like it. But then somebody decided to do a reloaded version. And I just cannot use the official version anymore because the reloaded version just puts it to shame because it was made with a labor of love that Wizards of the Coast doesn't have. Backtracking a bit to what Storydad said, that modules don't account for player composition, and I just wanted to share this. By the end of Tyranny of Dragons, okay, they absolutely steamrolled when I was DMing. They steamrolled Tiamat because the composition was a bard, a Twilight cleric, a celestial druid, and a rogue gunslinger. So they didn't die, and they threw nukes at what's supposed to be like the mother of all dragons. Okay, they completely dog walked the BBG, and I was and you saw that. You saw that. It was horrifying. So I had to pull a Mythic Tiamat because that was when Wizard of the Coast released the Mythic version for some bosses where they go to 0 HP and then they come back with full HP with a bunch of new features, and that was the only way to make it interesting. And even then, they still steamrolled Tiamat. And that's one of my gripes with modules. It's exactly what Storydad said, that they don't account for player composition. Now that we were talking about other systems, I myself have only homebrewed for D&D. For the past 10 years of playing D&D, I've only homebrewed for D&D. I played a couple of other systems here and there, not for long, more like one-shots and stuff. But I never changed my main system. Only now am I dipping my toes in Legend in the Mist by Son of Oak Studios, which is a really solid game. If anyone knows it or doesn't know it, go search it because it's really cool. It's a narrative-driven game. It's so freeing that homebrew is almost a guaranteed part of it. And to all of you that have played other systems, Alexey is now focusing on Daggerheart. Afonso, you like Mothership, Santas. You just showed us two of them. And Storydad, I know you're playing VTM and what's the other one you're playing on stream? I forgot the name.
The Cosmere RPG.
Cosmere, yeah. Yeah, okay, Alexey just, there he goes, getting the book. Okay.
Both. Dude, these Okay, I need to nerd out for a little
so
second.
good.
Brandon
It's so
Sanderson
good.
is the GOAT, and the system is like, I need to sit down and actually like cup of tea and a full weekend to just read and like immerse myself in this, because whenever we're talking about labors of fucking love, like this right here isn't just a pure like a labor of love. This is love making. Like, I'm sorry, but like these books are made obviously for each other because they're based in a world written by Brandon Sanderson, which is arguably modern fantasies, like Tolkien, pretty much. And he has such an extensive lore and world building that through the books you feel how much passion this man has for a fictional world that he built through years, decades of just brainstorming, like giving these characters so much truth and so much like that's already like a tangent, but you know, just so you get the point, that that's the basis, the foundation that they decided to pick up and use as a fucking base for a system, a TTRPG system, which is all about the truth of your characters. It's all about their emotions, the story that they tell, the decisions that they make. All of that is essentially, we are telling a story with our friends, which is kind of the point of a TTRPG. Sure, you can slay bosses and have like, you know, math involved with clickety clack rocks, but at the end of the day, it's the cool moments that you share and what stays in your memory. And this, I feel, is built exactly for that, because it's literally built on the base of one person's labor in like of decades of work. And I think it's really awesome, and I hope to run it in the future, maybe this year, we'll see. But it's really fucking cool, and the art is amazing.
So after Alex gushing over Cosmere, like to
Yeah,
all of
sorry.
you that run other systems, how is the difference between published and homebrew content in those, and do you feel it's easier to do your own thing in them than it is in D&D, which is usually the gateway TTRPG for new players nowadays?
I mean, sure. Let's go with that. I'll say it's for me. It's always easy to homebrew because it's the same reason. I just the systems that I love the most. Actually, okay. Let's go with this. In terms of adventure, I always homebrew. In terms of like what's the action, what's happening during the session, I always homebrew. I always try to follow my players' instincts and what they created and go from there. Especially if it's one shots, I have usually just a very broad preparation of what the session can be, and some ramifications of how that might look like. But usually I tend to learn a lot from my players and then dump it into the session. But for example, there are some games that I absolutely do love that cannot be played if not homebrew, and then there are others where if you are playing and if it's not within the world, then it's going to be weird. Let me try to put that in a better sense. For example, I love the kids on bike system. Kids on bikes, kids on brooms. You have Teens in Space, and I think they just released Kids in Capes or Kids on Capes or something along those lines. And it's a very unique system, but you have they release a couple of adventures for it, but it's more of like guidelines. If you get a book or if you get anything that you can buy from them, basically there are no adventures, and they basically tell you, okay, you're playing Kids on Brooms, create your own Hogwarts. And here are the steps to create your own type of magic school. And what they don't offer you a spell list. They tell you, magic exists. Tell us what happens. And then here are a couple of tables where you can figure out how difficult it is for that to happen. But then it gets strange, for example, when you reach something that is very, like Cosmere, for example, or like Avatar, something that is very setting heavy, let's say. If I want to run something within the Avatar world and not make it Avatar world, I'll just go to another PBTA. There are tons of it. There are tons of them. I don't need to be playing Avatar to be playing a PBTA. So within that, that's the world building and like home and adventure setting to it. But then I usually tend to ease off on what the monsters are or what the items are. I like to homebrew them, I like to alter them, I like to make modifications, but I also like to just take what's already there and see what I can do with it before changing it and before procking it and before working around it. So I'd say it really, really depends on what you're playing with and what you are doing. And depending on the system, what I like to usually do is try to get a good understanding of what the system has to offer and what the system actually wants you to do or does well, basically. And then you are, as soon as you understand that, you are completely free to just do your own thing within the system. Even if it's within the Avatar world and you know that there's the whole geopolitical thing and the whole only the Avatar can bend all four things, you know the basic rules, but then you do your thing within that. I don't know, I'm quite tired. I feel like I started within one point and then trailed quite near 5 or 6 different points and didn't really talk about either of them. So that's my intro. As I said, I'm an old man. Dementia is starting to kick in. So I'm starting to look at my walls and seeing faces there.
The pre-game dusty off your game.
Yeah.
I think you more or less you answered, right? So there's some specific games that it's not easy to escape from the setting, right? Like Avatar, maybe Marvel. You have those kind that are heavy setting, yeah.
No.
And basically,
continue.
yeah. You want to say something?
No.
Go
It's
ahead.
it's about Marvel. But go ahead. Finish your train of thought, and I'll.
Yeah. So in those scenarios, and I typically I'm not attracted to those kind of systems that are setting heavy on the setting, right? Because I felt like there's so much references in the mind of players and so on, and I think I will not do a good job there. But it's a personal thing. I don't know on like games like those. But in my opinion, it's easier on, let's say, light rule systems. It's easier to create your own brew. It's less complex. The balance typically is better in my experience. So at least the systems I played, but again, like Afonso said, it depends on the system you pick. So, but that's my experience. My art, let's say, on D&D, my big pain is always balance the encounters, right? And I think we all do it on the fly. We change stats of the monsters.
Change stats, give some
so
more
Improv
HP.
is the name of the game.
Yeah. But in other
Never
systems,
done
I don't feel that need to change those stats so often as I feel on D&D, for instance. Yeah, and that's my take. Sorry, you go
because
on
you
with
talked
Marvel.
about Marvel. I saw somebody actually follow them on YouTube. They decided to get like Marvel's Multiverse TTRPG, and they basically decided to give it a fantasy revamp. And the fact that it absolutely works as a fantasy TTRPG is mind-boggling.
Oh my god, I gotta check it out.
Okay.
I need to check that out.
It's crazy.
But I would never have the, let's say, the courage to do that.
I completely understand that. But like just said, it triggered the core memory, and I'm like, wait, I saw somebody do this.
That also that triggered something for me in the hero spectrum. Aryn is gonna have a little bit of a moment here, but during the pandemic, besides D&D, I also had a very amateurish attempt at making a game system for a tabletop RPG game system for My Hero Academia. And that was in my my baby chick days of a TTRPG enjoyer, where I didn't have enough exposition. I didn't know like the amount of systems that I could have just used at the time and reflavored them because they fit perfectly, that I could have used, but again, no experience there. So I just, you know what, I'm gonna build one. And like still kind of touching upon that whole telling a story with your friends, but also having something that is such a clear labor of love, because like it's one of my favorite animes at some point. Like I was reading the manga before it was even announced that it was going to be an anime. I was in middle school reading that shit. Like I was 8 chapters out. I was like, this has potential. I was like, this is really cool. And like lo and behold, you know, pandemic. There's a couple seasons out. My friends, with whom I started playing, as well as some new friends that I made along the way in college, Aryn, Joe, they also kind of like joined, and I made this system literally because I loved the world so much, and my friends also loved it, that at some point, since as a GM, it felt so shaky and so boring and so nonsensical for me from the like mechanics side of it, because you know, obviously I want to tell a story, but whenever mechanics are involved, I want them to make sense, as I would assume anyone else here does. Even though like the story was the main focus for me whenever there was combat and things like that, because I have players that, you know, want to punch a bitch, and that's fair. So like, you know, especially if you have superpowers, fucking go ham, you know. One thing that is just kind of chasing me these years, and it's growing more and more with every passing year, is these little fuckers. Like we had like 2 sessions. 2 or 3 sessions, like not more, like 2 sessions at most, maybe 3. But these little fuckers remind me, like every few months, like clockwork, there's a mention of it, and everyone is so just like I'm not. I don't want to say passionate, but like so, like dude. Yes, like I like insufferable in the best way possible, because and whenever you guys talk about it, you talk about it with such a, I don't know, it's like it's different from when you talk about our memories playing D&D or Daggerheart or anything like that. It's so different. Like the way that you guys, like, it's the first time I truly like unfiltered passion that I saw you guys feel for the story, everything that we were doing together. And the system was superficial at the end of the day, because everything that we were doing there was what mattered more. And I think this whole like conundrum with published modules is like every time a published module comes out, even though it's absolutely amazing, and obviously you can feel it's a labor of love, and it's 5 stars, all of that, at the end of the day, it's still, I might be phrasing this wrong, but it still kind of feels like whenever anyone publishes a module, it's like they're shooting themselves in the foot because they're opening up a window for people to be like, this part of the module didn't run really well, or it doesn't account for party balance, or like always those little fuckers in the corner like, I'm actually always trying to bring anything down. You always have negative Nellies. So whenever you build a system, which always is going to have a negative Nellies, it's easier to just add more and more supplements to the system, because at the end of the day, most people that play D&D, or not D&D, TTRPGs in general, mostly want to tell their stories with their friends and explore their fucking punch a bitch mechanics. Like at the end of the day, like that's why I like Daggerheart. They literally can, like, it's supposedly fantasy based, right? But they literally did a one-shot about Dispatch, which couldn't be farther from fantasy. Like, sure, it has like some aspect of magic, but it's more like DC and Marvel. And Marvel, at the end of the day, it's more sci-fi with fantasy elements, but it's not fantasy per se. And it's not just like reflavored, it's just, it works. It's so targeted yet ambiguous at the same time, which is what I feel modules should be. Whenever you do a module, it should have like a general path, right? And I might be speaking with not enough experience here, but I think a module should just have a general path. And instead of having, if a player rolls this and rolls badly, this will happen. If a player rolls good, this will happen. If a player rolls extremely well, this will happen, and then you get a kiss on the forehead. Like instead of all of those little side notes of what can or will happen, I think it should be a little bit more like, hey, I'm your crutch. I'm not your car. You're the one walking. So like it should just be there for like the occasional help when you're feeling a little bit lost, but not as a, follow me here, stop, now dance, now let's go. Like that's how I feel most modules go. And like it doesn't account for the player or GM fully. It just takes them for granted, in my view.
Tyranny of Dragons suffers from that a lot. The NPCs like keep telling, hey, you should go here and take care of that. Hey, you should go there and take care of that. And the player's like, can't we just do something that we want for once? Like, guys, aren't we free to do so? And sometimes modules, at least for me, they do act more like a cage. That's why usually when I get my hands on a module, I usually just skim through it just to get a vague idea of what it does, what it's supposed to do, and just close it, put it to the side. We good. But regarding My Hero Academia, Alex, what system would be really good for that? Legend in the Mist, right?
Legends in the Mist. Yep.
Throwing it out there, okay?
Or was it City in the Mist? Because they had like the whole. I don't know if it's the same thing.
Was their first game. Legend in the Mist is like City,
because it was
City
more like
of
folk
Mist.
Vibes, fairy tales.
City of Mist was their previous game. They then made Legend in the Mist in a more it's like cozy fantasy in a way, but you can like just increase the level of fantasy to whatever you want. But Storydad, regarding, since you play a lot of VTM, and I'm not very familiar with VTM, how is Homebrew in VTM? Still in the same theme of the question.
Oh, I've got a real controversial opinion on this one.
Boy.
VTM is one of the only systems where the published material is better than the homebrew, and that's an insane thing to say, but the sheer amount of reverse engineered, upside down, complete horrible homebrew that exists homebrew clans that have no basis within the lore itself, weird power fantasy extra disciplines that literally don't serve anything. All of those things can absolutely have their place at the table. There's plenty of D&D homebrew that is guilty of the exact same thing. The problem with VTM is you should also have the opposite. You should also have quality homebrew that's actually like good to consume and makes sense within the setting and is like power balanced, and it's and. Oh man, that doesn't really exist in any demonstrable way for VTM. The community is so clogged to the gills with the most horrifying, problematic, unbalanced horror show homebrew that I've ever seen out of any setting. And then you'll get into like published content like Chicago or like the Fall of London or the Second Inquisition books or any of those things, and it's like, damn, these are good. Because like they add a very serious amount to the lore. They don't try to railroad the players. They give you a playground and a sandbox to play in. They have interesting NPCs. They don't force and pigeonhole you into different experiences that are, just going to lead you down the exact same guarded path. They give you playgrounds for you to experience the lore, the depth, and the system of Vampire the Masquerade. So as much as I decry a lot of published material for many different rule sets, I find that the stuff from White Wolf is largely fairly quality these days. Predicate big asterisk there. These days is pretty good. Anything for V5 is actually quite quality. Bloodstained Love notwithstanding, I'll die on that hill. And the large amount of homebrew is just bad, and there's not a super good way of it disseminating itself either. They have this thing called the Storyteller's Vault, and some of it there's a couple of like golden nuggets, but so much of it is just dreck. It's not worth consuming, in my opinion. I will say, man, it's easy to make the homebrew. The system is incredibly user friendly when it comes to like creating these things. Like disciplines have a fairly bog standard formula for creating whatever, and any new disciplines. Different bloodlines and clans are fairly generic to make. Choose 3 disciplines, choose a flaw, and on your bike. That's essentially it. But like, so it's, if you can make good homebrew, people at home that are watching, hey, do you want to be a good Vampire the Masquerade storyteller and make a bunch of homebrew? Please, first of all, make it. It's going to be better than what's out there, and also tag me. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. And I get a lot of kickback when I say that, because people will be like, well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? I'm like, we have like 40 years of like really well-established lore within Vampire the Masquerade, and 30 years of that can be thrown away because it's like just beat you over the head power fantasy superheroes with a gothic slant. Like it's a lot of it is pretty problematic. Like look up the old lore on Ravnos, look up any of the books by Black Dog Publishing, or don't. Trigger warning, literally. Like it's like even just Googling some of these things can actually cause a pretty problematic response. So like but that being said, like these days, like Vampire 5th edition is largely blameless, and a lot of the stuff that they put out is great. And if you want to create homebrew, I encourage you. It's fairly easy, but yeah, for what's out there, yikes.
You were saying that, and I was just having Vietnam War flashbacks to D&D Wiki. Every time I play with like new players and they pull something out of D&D Wiki, and I'm like, just no, we don't go there. That's like the forbidden area, like where the hyenas are in Lion King. You don't go to the shadow place.
That's where all the fedora wearing guys go.
Yeah.
That's where all
there's a lot of like mall ninja, fedora wearing,
Absolutely.
like, katana, like nothing personal kid disappears right behind you. You edgelord behavior in the community. In the community still to this day. Like a lot of the people are holding on to those like really incel weird vibes that came from like the 90s and early 2000 Vampire the Masquerade scene. And it just carried over, and some people never let it go. They hate V5. They don't like what it's doing these days. They want their power fantasy back. They want to be able to fight God with their little leech vampire guy. And you know, it's things have changed. Make homebrew.
Moving on to the next question, and I kind of did this one to see if anyone here relates to this. Like I've run modules that had to get a lot of homebrew, and I've made my own homebrew campaigns. Also creating settings from scratch for them. But there's always that point in time where, while I'm DMing, where I eventually start feeling the burnout of creating and mastering the game at the same time. Do any of you like go through the same? How is it for you?
Do you not see I am charcoal? I have burnt out like decades ago, slowly and painfully. It's where life gets you, yeah.
The green of his sweatshirt is actually the ocean where his ashes were thrown.
Yeah. Here I am.
I've experienced it. I've been there before, but really only ever on like specific campaigns. Like I feel sometimes that like a campaign has run its course if I'm doing something like long term and I'm kind of getting at my wit's end with it. But I don't know if it's just a quirk of something I've picked up along the way or what have you. But I always find that like I have the spoons and the wherewithal to like still create. It's in the blood. Yeah, I can feel it in my bones. Like I always need to be making something. Like and TTRPGs are my medium, so it's like I find that spark elsewhere. I find like that we're in very much a golden era of tabletop role-playing games in the moment. I try to really be present with that because I can't throw a rock and not hit 6 TTRPG rule sets that I would play today. So like Cosmere RPG, Shadowrun, Cyberpunk Red,
Shadowrun!
Cyberpunk, fucking Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory. We're talking about the Blade Runner TTRPG, the Fallout TTRPG. The list goes on and on. Dune, like the list goes on and on and on. I don't even play Dungeons and Dragons anymore, and I haven't for almost 2 years. So like, and that's no shade to D&D. It's a wonderful hobby, et cetera, et cetera. But like, if I'm getting burnt out in a certain way, it usually has nothing to do with the hobby. It's just like, oh, I'm like 12 days straight at work, and like I actually I need food and like a nap. Like I need normal life stuff, right? Like it's like, oh, I'm dehydrated. I haven't been taking my vitamins. I've been working for too many days straight. Yeah, those are the things that'll cause burnout. But I've never felt super creatively burnt out before, and not been able to like pivot really quickly to like, yeah, okay, well, I'm going to tell a cyberpunk story, or I'm going to go and do like a fantasy cyberpunk Shadowrun story, or like, I love 40k, I'm going to run Rogue Trader or Wrath and Glory, or hey, I'm going to run Morkborg, or the list goes on. It's like I can tell a story in any of these lanes, and something always sparks for me, and that's where it's always come from. Is like, there's an infinity of stories to be told, and inspiration is in every page of every TTRPG book out there. So just read, and if you can't find the wherewithal, drink a glass of water, come back in 15. Like, I don't know, it's tough. It's tough for some people, but I've been blessed to not have too many struggles.
Yeah,
very fair.
I feel the same. So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I feel the same. Sometimes it happens like you don't feel in the mood, or you like you need to rest a little bit from the campaign and get some energies and go back. I'm a world builder on a West March campaign in D&D system, and that works more like every adventure is a one shot, but the world evolves and the adventure goes on, but there's one shots happening all around the world. And sometimes I had the commitment. Yeah, we scheduled the one shot. I didn't know even what I would play, and sometimes I get inspiration on games, video games, on movies, to find something, some problem, some premise, right? To start with. And one day I felt like I will grab this video game I love so much. It's from Mega Drive. It's it's Streets of Rage. I don't know, a beat 'em up. So the game has no particular interesting history, right? But what I did is I grabbed some map, like in the same, so landscape, the characters would play in Roll20, could move up and down, and the session was just beat 'em up. So kicking some ass of gangs in the city until they reach the goal. So it will play like this. I had three or three scenarios. I even put that arrow that says go when you should go to the next. So it was funny because I based that on something that I enjoy a lot, and I took a risk. I also knew the people, so it's better when you trust people and you get comfortable with that. So yeah, finding inspiration on things that exist, video games, movies, books that you like, sometimes gives a bubble of air, and you enjoy as well, and the players as well.
Yeah. You were saying about like grabbing a game you like, and that's like literally what we're gonna do here at the guild, because I love World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft was my gateway into TTRPGs, because I used to play a lot in a roleplay server. And since it's an MMORPG, I always felt very constrained to the limitations of a video game. So I'm gonna grab Legend in the Mist and run it in a West March system in the Warcraft setting. But I was going somewhere with this, but I'm like Afonso, and the tiredness from a day of work is already clocking in.
Just a bunch of tired adults here.
Just a bunch of tired adults. Exactly.
Okay,
I remember. Like I did something recently where I was feeling burnt out from my main campaign, Homebrew campaign, where I actually went way too hard on world building and started the game with the end of world already kind of setting. And after some time of playing, I had to gather with my players and be like, you know what, I might need to reset. And it was possibly the best thing I could have done. I grabbed Alexey's party, changed from D&D to Legend in the Mist. Everyone is having a blast. I grabbed the other party who decided to keep D&D, started all over. They're also having a blast. And if you're a new game master, don't be afraid to talk to your players and like, this is not working, maybe we should try something else. What do you guys think? Don't be afraid to talk to your players, please. Please talk to your players and let your players talk to you if they need. Because being burned out is not cool.
Yeah, definitely.
It sucks. But yeah,
Let me maybe
I mean,
add
I'm
my.
Well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I go. Okay. My burnout is maybe a bit different. I kind of forgot to also talk about it. That I'm mostly GMing like in a professional sense nowadays. I sometimes do GM for friends, but I'm mostly GMing for paying tables. So there is a level of commitment, a level of quality that you need to output to every session. Not only that, and I would always throw myself at the table, and at what I would guarantee. But I hope. Okay, no players of mine are here right now, but I'm currently also doing like a PhD focused on TTRPGs, and it's been a tough week of papers that I needed to deliver. But like, I've been spending like the last couple of days just writing about TTRPGs, then taking a break to prepare TTRPGs, to then take a break to paint. I'm painting like a huge purple worm at this point, so I can surprise the table with that. And then going back to writing about TTRPGs. So it's been enveloping a lot of my life. So when I'm talking about slow burn, it's more in the sense of I do sometimes get to play, and I'm looking at the chat. Some people talking about like taking a break, changing perspective, all of that. I have been having the opportunity to play. Like Monday, I played a beautiful game called A Quieteer, for example, by Buried Without Ceremony. It's amazing, and everyone
is.
cried. And it was very, very beautiful. I'll be playing again sometime. But all of those things that help you change perspective do help. But the way that I found that works for me in terms of dealing with burnout is just, and you were talking about over prepping, let's say. I don't find that that's something that exists for my type of GMing. Because my world building is so intense that sometimes I just take some. Sometimes I'm just I don't know, walking my dogs or something, and I have an idea for a faction. Like the other day, I was thinking about how I could implement a faction that basically all that they did was walk around the world trying to break people out of their dreams. So people stuck in their dreams, how to break people out of their dreams. So that implies a lot of things within the world, that brings a lot of things into the world. So I'm just like, okay, I need to make a voice note in my phone, and then I get home and I start rolling dice, seeing how that could be implemented into the game. Where are they? Where are they working? What's happening in the world for them to be around? And I basically turned it into fun. Let's say that's how I have fun. I have fun world building, and yeah, that's kind of like where I wanted to go with it. Otherwise, I would be like the slow burn. It's a good burn. Let's say it's a gym burn. It's the same. It's the same soreness that you have on your muscles. I feel
After
tired
they
at the end
soreness,
of-
yeah.
Exactly. Like I feel very tired at the end of the day. I always do, because I'm always constantly thinking about it, but it's so much fun to just be constantly in my head thinking about how can I implement cool shit into my world,
Yeah.
and make my players fall in love with it.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Writers
I
would
mean-
say world building is mental masturbation, but I just said, let me just take my
I would
continents
agree.
and everything in it.
I would agree. I mean, kind of to touch upon that, I was like thinking of any instance of burnout that I had, because like the only instance of burnout that I had, I mean, I guess I had two. Both of them, ironically, were with Aryn, but not related to Aryn. Because one of them was as a player in that same campaign that he talked about, where he just, was feeling burnt out, switched it to Legend in the Mist. Let me tell you, that first session was better than any other session that we had when it was part of the in the D&D system. Granted, a lot of personal stuff happened, interplayer drama. We all have been there, all that type of bullshit. Shit happens. But regardless, that was, it was great. But one of my near burnouts was actually with Valdra, with that world, when I was a player. And the burnout happened because when you're a DM for such a long time, and like Afonso, you're swimming in a sea of serotonin, of just like, this faction, this NPC, this narrative point, and bro, my first tattoo was was literally the logo of my first faction. Like, I can't, dude. So when I started playing as a full-fledged player in a long-term campaign, obviously, as a forever DM, some of you can relate. Oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and I have these ideas, and then I'm gonna do like a little tournament of characters to find out which character I'm gonna be playing in this long-term campaign, because I want to be ready. I want to have fun, and then it kind of goes into a pseudo over prep as a player because I've never really been one in a full-fledged long-term campaign. So I bit more than I could chew, and I was essentially just having trouble finding a vibe for the character. I wasn't really enjoying the role play. Something about the character was off, whether it was backstory, something happened at the time in my life, a breakup, and then a lot of things were really aligning for me to just not have fun with the character. And even though there were fun sessions and amazing sessions and moments of breakthrough, at the end of the day, I was just having such a hard time. And the moment Aryn switched the system, because I literally was thinking for months, I need to talk to him. How can I switch the characters? I'm not having fun. I'm literally burnt out, and we haven't been playing for months. But whenever I think of the character, I'm like, I dissipate into ashes. That was my issue. And the moment he talked about literally. And whenever Aryn came up to me hey, we're gonna switch Valdra into Legends of the Mist. Dude, I think this is a pretty good moment for me to come clean, and I'm not enjoying my character. And he was like, yeah, sure, I'm not enjoying my world. I'm like, clean slate. And we both nodded, shook hands, and started from scratch. And we came guns blazing in the roleplay sense, not actually fucking firebolting and shit, but it was flowy, chemistry was there, everything was there, it was perfect. And my other instance as a DM burnout, which is I never really had one, but it was mostly just disappointment and tiredness of non-committal from players. That is the only moment where I actually was really it kind of messed with me. And that's the other part where Aryn was one of my players in that campaign, but a lot of the other group, the other half of the group that was there, I have work, I have this, I can play, I can join, and then whenever they join, they can't talk in the middle. There's oh, hey, turns out I have to walk my dog, and an hour and a half later into the session, they just walk out, and I wasn't having fun purely because the other people weren't really committing the same way that the other half of the group, me included, were actually this we're taking time of our day, we're taking time of our weeks to do this. And me as a DM, even though I'm not over prepping mechanically, I spend hours in my head like Afonso, whether if I'm going taking a dookie or I'm actually going to take a passport picture, whatever I'm doing, there might be a moment where I'm oh dude, this is a perfect, oh no, hold on, so this character, yeah, and then that connects to that plot point, okay, yeah, and everything starts connecting, and I'm spending time that I could be literally energy that I could be spending in I don't know, preparing other things, spending time with family, yeah, a number of things that I could be doing, right? But no, I spend times just looking at stat blocks, listening to people talk while I just have this maladaptive daydream, listening to music, preparing for my next session, with the occasional stat block being pulled down, like, you know. So, and like, to kind of finish it off, I no longer have that moment of, damn, there's no committal from the other side. I'm feeling that burnout creep. That no longer happens, because my main campaign currently, which Aryn is also a part of, is just so balanced in all aspects. Sure, we figured out combat and kind of came full circle, but that's besides the point, because I have so many problems. I have literal beef with D&D combat, but yeah, another story for another day. But no matter what we did, I spent so much preparing for that world, preparing for that campaign, which kind of, touching upon the tyranny of dragons thing, the whole thematic of dragons, is that's literally the base of the world. And I developed I researched evolution to the point.
You are crazy.
I need to pull this up. Hold on. I literally have this near me. I researched evolution to the point where I figured out how am I going to do dragons in a way that is evolutionarily what's the word? Feasible. So, you know, everyone starts as amniotes, then you have diapsids, you have synapsids, and from there you have all of those branches. And I was like, okay, how can I make dragons a whole actual, like, real thing? Like, what if I can mix fantasy and evolution? Like, how can I, like, mix both and have that be, like, interchangeable? And basically, I just created another type of branch there called draconids. You have synapsids, diapsids, and draconids. I might be saying it wrong, but yeah. And I devoted so much time to literally drawing, creating. I have 250 dragon species, each of them unique. I have true dragons. That's what you would see, and some of you might look at what my true dragons are, at what my wyverns are, and say, "Oh, those two are the same." No. I hate the way that D&D and classic fantasy does dragons. I don't like the way that they have 4 legs and 2 wings. That doesn't make them dragons, much less reptilians, because they're closer to insects than they are to any type of reptilian or amphibious creatures. It makes no sense evolutionarily. I don't care if it's fantasy. I don't like it. But I kind of just went with so much, like, I had so much in my mind there that whenever I think, maybe it would be nice if we didn't have a session this Sunday, I'm kind of tired. And I think what happened last session, with the role play that we had, with the character development that we had, and with, like, all of the cool things that I just keep thinking of, whether I want to or not, like Afonso, like anyone else here, it just pops into my mind, and I never have a dull moment. That's basically why I can't have burnout, because my brain doesn't let me, and because fortunately I have a very good table that fucking is there for the ride. So I have no pit stops, because I'm always at 100% infinite turbo going forward. And yeah, I think, like, I'm very lucky in that aspect that helps with my burnout. So yeah, that's pretty much like the only thing I would say. And just kind of to top it off, someone said about playing a month or two as a player instead of a DM to help with burnout, and I completely agree. Changing perspectives helps you, because you can still enjoy the game, but you're not bearing the weight of the responsibilities that a DM or GM has. So if anyone in the chat is ever feeling that way, try it out. Be a DM for maybe a one shot, or a player for maybe a one shot or a short campaign. It will help you, and you guys can still play together.
The forever DM curse is a myth. Break it with your own 2 hands.
Yes.
Okay. With that, how do you deal like since we have all done homebrew, how do you deal when a piece of content that you created or you just found, grabbed, and used on your campaigns, be it in D&D, Legend Mist, VTM, whatever? How do you deal with it when this piece of content, whatever it might be, starts chipping away at the balance of your game? Do you like rework the piece even if it inconveniences the party, or do you try to like work around it? Sorry that you're sighing.
Oh,
very-
can you
very-
repeat the question?
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
Like how do you deal when a piece of homebrew content is chipping away at the balance of your game? Like, do you rework it? Do you work around it? Even if the players don't like that you rework it?
combat-wise, or
No, anything. Like items, classes.
items, for instance? Okay.
Yeah.
Say sorry and throw it away. That's usually it.
Yeah.
It depends on how bad it is, right? Because like it's like, oh, I gave the paladin too strong of a sword. It's like, all right, well, reduce the modifier, reduce the damage, call it a day. But if it's something that's like going to actually skew the story in a way that like robs other players from cool moments or pulls away from the overall narrative or anything like that, like you ended up giving somebody something that allows them to subvert massive swaths of the campaign that you're playing. That's not good. There's like a decent amount of that kind of that kind of energy where it's like it again, it comes back to context of like what exactly the scale of how bad the content ended up being is, but I don't know. I'm not afraid to throw it away if it's bad, and usually it's just a discussion with the table. It's just like, hey guys, the head smashing sword of teleporting and wishes seems a little overtuned. Do you think maybe we should reduce the stats or get rid of it? I gave it to you because I'm dumb, and maybe we should just backpedal. And usually it's a good conversation, and it's like, that feels torqued. I seldom had a character.
You just had a rust monster.
Yeah, exactly. And they're suddenly fighting 100 rust monsters, and that's it. And they only want that sword. But no, it's like I've never really had a bad reaction from a player being like, you gave me this piece of equipment and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, well, I mean, the writing's on the wall. It's bad. Like, it's super bad. So yeah, that's usually what it is. Count your losses and move on.
Vantage, Afonso?
Yeah, I totally agree. So if it's breaking fun, if a player is getting spotlight because of that item, somehow, I think just have the conversation, balance the things a little bit. I think if players are reasonable, that they will agree, and it's totally justified to do that.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I was in the beginning a little bit like I had a moment where I literally posted on Reddit when I gave my party way too much cash because they managed to fool a casino in Humblewood, mind you, in Elderheart, but yeah, completely homebrew Elderheart, mind you, completely different. Of course, it had a casino, but yeah, I gave like they managed to walk out with copious amount of gold pieces, and I was like, oh, did I do too much? I don't know. Like, and the Reddit was booming. Like the post, people had opinions. And so I was thinking like maybe I did too much, and I was like, oh, maybe I should talk to the party, yeah, and maybe I should talk to a party and kind of like maybe you didn't get that much money. I was way too worried at the time because like I forget that even though it's a communal thing, you still have in a way power, and not to be like draconian about it, but you are the DM, and if it impinges in the fun of the group and the story, cut it. Just put it on a chopping block, get rid of it, move on. Because nowadays I'm way more draconian about it. I put my foot down like, hey guys, I actually misbalanced this. I don't like this, and I'm going to do it like this, and this is the new stat block, so please use that. Thank you. Moving on. No ceremony. We just do that because I have trust with my players, and usually, obviously, I'm not like, fuck that thing that I gave you, use this, slut, and I walk off. No, like, obviously, we have a genuine conversation about it. You know, we're respectful. We have confidence in each other to just be, you know, simplistic, no ceremonies, no formalities, just like, hey, I think that's too much, so I'm gonna give you this, okay? And the player's like, got it, boss, moving on. There's like, it's simple. I don't think that, like, it's as problematic as bigger points in modules that touch on story and things like that. That's a little bit harder to fix. Items are just touch and go. You do it or you don't.
Tyranny of Dragons giving a level 5 character a legendary greatsword. Mm-hmm. That just stays with them throughout the rest of the campaign. Yeah,
And I mean, why not? I've no idea what Tyranny of Dragons is even about, but I've never really had that problem. I don't know. I also have, and I'm never beating the allegations of being a very TPK forward GM, because like as Storydad was saying, like shit's just in the world, and I don't really
exactly.
I don't really follow CR, so things are just there. My players are level 4. Like I was speaking about the Purple Worm. Yeah, the players are level 4 at this point, and they were warned. What can I say? So like, they
Look around and find out.
They had the opportunity to another group of players had the opportunity to get an artifact earlier, and they chose not to, but they had the opportunity to at level 3 as well. So what I usually like to do is, like, in terms of scaling or power scaling, I usually don't worry too much about it because my games are so narrative focused that it usually doesn't ever become a problem. But when it does, and usually, or when it might, and again, I've never had the problem, thankfully, but when it might be a problem, and when we're talking very, very high level, my play culture, and it's very about play culture, like in terms of even how I manage D&D, for example. I really like the ideas of, for example, the 16 HP dragon or the 1 HP dragon, where like, what does it get to kill the dragon? Like, as in 1 HP dragon, as in there is one hit that will make the dragon fall. Everything else is armor. So everything else is things that you chop at until you get that hit. And when you look at it like that in terms of construction of a narrative and a scene, everything has a solution. And if I end up finding that, for example, someone's solution is becoming way too overused, for example, there usually is a reason for that, a narrative reason for that not to be for that to not be the preferred solution anymore. And yeah, I usually come up with those very naturally. Like, for example, they have a ton of gold. Cool. They go into a town where everything is extremely overpriced, for example, and they see a very cool item that is going to be worth their gold, but it is like 100 times the original price. Are you going to get it? Yeah, sure. Then you got something for your gold. There is a reason for the town to be so wealthy and so overpriced, and everything being so overpriced. They're going to want to show their money to everyone and like give gigantic tips to the waitress And when they realize that giving 20 platinum to the waitress is nothing in that town, it turns around on them, basically. So that's usually what I like to do. So exactly the same thing as the 1 HP dragon. Everything is armor. Everything works towards something. And if they have a crazy overpowered sword, I don't know. Hey, you find a dungeon where every magic item turns on you. So if you have an overpowered sword, mate, you're fucked. That's basically it.
Viciously takes notes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's basically the Rust Monster approach, but flavored in many ways.
Every
that
magic
we
weapon
can
is a
find.
mimic.
Yeah.
But they usually play it.
But that's I think that's a very good approach. It's,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
it's
know
also
if,
if you can incorporate. Yeah.
I don't know if it's just my plays, but usually players like to suffer. It's just something that players thrive. They like to suffer in the sense of, obviously, in the role play sense. That's why 95% of characters are extremely traumatized. But then, just the idea of thriving for something, of working for something, of something being extremely hard, and when you're almost getting something or reaching a goal, it's taken from you. I don't know. The way that I build tension up, it usually ends up working in that favor. And usually, I don't even think about it. It's very
fluid.
It's a very fluid and quick response to the problems. Maybe that's why I've never felt it.
Yeah, I think that's
way
just a
to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just a product of your work. I don't want to say prep, so I'm just gonna say work because it's ambiguous enough. Because I have the exact same thing. When the stars align, because you have everything pretty much done around you, and the players are just. I really like to make the world as real as possible. I don't like to think of NPCs as NPCs. They are other people. You fuck with them, their uncle is gonna come back with some Johnnies from the tavern that he's been with since his guard days, like shit, like stuff is gonna happen to you. Like you fuck around and find out. Actions have. I don't like saying actions have consequences because they don't. They have reactions. Some reactions might be negative. Some reactions might be a butterfly effect that after 32 sessions you're gonna find out a cousin from one of the bandits that you killed turn to you in a random street and be like, "Oh, please, cash, my lord, stab, stab, stab. That's for my uncle," and just fucking run away. It's like, "Who? I'm bleeding out." And like you catch those players off guard because the world is alive, and usually that turns them that makes the players want to press the big red button in non-obvious ways, which is why, like, when you said players like to suffer, it's because they like to experience things, whether they're positive or negative. They just want to go the extra mile, and it's really great because at some point, for me, it blurs the line because I don't know if I'm traumatizing my players or if they are. Sometimes I know it's me, but most of the time I'm like, was it them? And they just walked into the wall, and I say, "Well, you broke your nose because you walked into a wall, dumbass. What do you want me to say?" Like, so
Yeah, I think
it's
this guy's
very.
thinking at me, I'm just not sure.
What do you want me to say?
Yeah, no, but it's exactly you're exactly right. It's organic because whenever you build things in a certain way, they are going to eventually domino or butterfly effect into something later on that you just don't have to worry about because, hey, all the stars are lined up. It just works because, that's usually how it is.
All right. I have a little question here. Would you guys be able to tell the chat of very funny or cursed experience you ever had, like with homebrew content? Anything you'd like to share with the class? Afonso, you're very excited, so
Eagerly nods.
I can't go last because I need to find it.
okay, start anyway.
Sure. So ages past. I was just like 19 years old. I was browsing Giants in the Playground. I had access to the World Wide Web and no actual knowledge of how to balance anything at all. Not one thing. And I came across, and I don't know if it exists anymore. I don't know if it was taken down or deleted, but I came across it was the Great Sword of Epic Smiting. And I'm a big swords guy. I like armor. I like big swords. I like all this kind of stuff. And it was just quite literally like any time that you smite, you add it was just an insane amount of damage and an insane amount to 2-hit. And I was like, oh man, they'll use this for every single like big boss moment. It'll be super cool. That doesn't look like too much damage. It was like 20d6. It was a ridiculous amount. And I'm like, okay, that seems really cool. They'll get a big final climactic moment. Of course, who doesn't want the protagonist, which, a TTRPG table shouldn't have a single protagonist, but I'm thinking in my head, the paladin at my table is the protagonist because I'm a young idiot. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. Yeah. And then just like, it also had a refresh mechanic. You get like, one of them a day. I'm like, that doesn't seem so bad. Cue the party showing up to every single fight, planning every single fight. We're watching the bugbears from afar or whatever, right? Casting invisibility and pass without trace and everything on the paladin so that they can sneak up, and silence on the paladin so they can sneak up on the most dangerous looking mofo in the entire encounter. Hit him as many times as he can. Last hit is always that like plus 15, 20 extra d6 smite. Nuke the dude, and then move on. And I was like, oh, okay. So this immediately had repercussions that I did not foresee and are irreversible. I'm getting rid of this sword. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry, table.
Paste.
Sorry. This is gone. I let them keep it in the first. In the first couple of instances, it was like, oh, okay, that's kind of ha cheesy, and then it became a bit for like another couple sessions after that, and then we all kind of like had that. We're all hungover in the morning, looking at one another with despair, realizing what we've done, and it's like we need to get rid of the sword, right, fellas? And the answer was a resounding, oh yeah, for sure. If we go to the BBEG and just like knock this dude out in one hit, like no one's having fun. So that was it. That's the first and most like the easiest explained horror story I've had with Homebrew. There's been some other like more complicated ones, but that's easy. Big sword did too much damage, needed to get rid of it.
Yeah, I couldn't find it, but there was a point where you were talking about how easy it was to kill Tiamat and all of that in your Tyranny of Dragons campaign, all of that. There was a point where, and I actually do love playing high level D&D. That's where I have the most fun, actually, where I'm GMing for people who are high level, because they get to explore so much more of the world. They get to be so much more consequential within the world, all of that. And there was a point, and this was within, as I told you, basically my homebrew includes, at this moment, 170-ish worlds. So something along the lines of, I call them cocoons. It's something along the lines of that. And there was a point where a couple of years ago, this was early 5e, so we were talking like early 5e in I don't know, pre-COVID, so like 2019 or something. We were playing level 20, busted up. Busted up, very, very min-maxed. I think 8 players or something at level 20, so there was nothing they couldn't kill. So I started obviously Googling what can I do against these guys, and I couldn't find the original,
Fortress.
but I came up. No. I came up with something. I found something that was so demented. It was called something along the lines of Gargantuan Swarm of Gargantuan Tiamats.
I know that. I
And
know
that was,
that.
it was basically a Sharknado of Tiamats. And
Sharknado of
it
Tiamats.
was so
Tiamatnado.
fun. It was so fun to run because they had like I don't know if it was like a 600 feet radius breath
no, it's-
weapon
yeah.
where it dealt all of Tiamat's breath weapons at once, and it recharged at a 5 or 6 like the other dragons. But then it had like that Hydra characteristic where you need to keep on chopping up Tiamats, basically. So you're not just killing one Tiamat instead of like taking heads out, you're taking just, okay, I want to take a Tiamat out of this Tiamat NATO. I mean, it was an extremely fun session. I'm not
I
going
think
to
I
lie.
found it.
Yeah, there you go.
It's in the chat.
It was demented. It was extremely fun to play, but it was just like a last effort to try and kill the barbarian or try and. I mean, it was 8 players. There is no action economy that you can do. 8 players with artifacts, with legendary items, with very rare items, 3 attunements, a lot of shit. They had their long rests done. They had all of that good stuff. The Heroes Feast, everything in their favor, and yeah, at that point, I don't think that Spelljammer was out. So I just made up a Spelljammer that they were, or some sorts of Spelljammer that they were flying towards this gargantuan thing. It was very, very fun.
I will just say this. The Swarm can take 50 legendary actions.
Yeah.
And it has 50 legendary resistances.
That's insane. That is insane. 50 legendary actions is unhinged.
Yeah, it lasted around
difficult.
6
Legendary
hours
actions.
or something. It lasted 6 hours because every turn the wizard would go time stop. Let's put everything here that we can.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Time stop, draw a mustache on every Tiamat.
Yeah, there you go. It's insane.
That's
but
5 mustaches per Tiamat.
yeah, but there are a lot of swarms. Like I find it very fun because people just started creating Sharknadoes out of everything. So there is a Sharknado basically.
I
of
remember that era of Homebrew. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's a very memey time. But it's, I mean, we love the memes, so why not? And it was a very fun session. So yeah, that's the.
Okay.
I think that was one of the most fun things that happened to me while GMing a homebrew thing that I just had found.
And here I thought you were gonna say like, oh, just Vecna on meth or something. No, Tiamat NATO. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I was like,
Speaking of Vecna, the completely rules as written, like entirely bog standard. Like I was shook. I was like, man, look at all these, like, I'm looking at all these encounters. I'm like, what do I want as the BBEG for a homebrew campaign? Like, what am I wanting to do? This is ages ago. And then just like rules as written, you can use Orcus to summon Vecna. And I was like, oh, okay, that's the one. Yeah, I'm like, that's the one. I'm like, that is such an, like, you could just like, yeah, and it's like you can use Orcus to summon Vecna, and then Vecna can summon like a Balor or whatever, and then a Balor summons swarms of devils, and then suddenly action economy's borked, and you've got wishes and time stops and all the craziness going on. Vecna's teleporting every turn and healing 80 HP, and like things are just nuts. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's rules as written. Like,
That just reminded me of that gif of that one guy dancing and then pointing down, and it zooms in into the same guy dancing and pointing down, and zooms in.
Yep.
Just Orcus, Vecna, Balor, Swarm.
Yep.
That's insane.
I
Alexey?
have a total different experience from Afonso. That was the entire opposite. So basically, I found like a sniper, big boss, right? That was supposed to be an epic battle, and the guy did in its stats does a lot of damage and so on. But they prepared so well for the encounter. He never had the chance to fire. So it was like I was hyping this sniper is too dangerous, and then in the same session they just kill it easily. So,
Wow.
but they like it, they enjoy it. But I was like frustrated because I didn't provide the experience I wanted to.
Awful taste in your mouth. Yeah, I understand.
Yes.
Alex?
I mean, my only bad homebrew experience is you.
What? What do you mean? What?
It was you.
You know what you fucking did, you little Weave Knight piece of shit. 6 attacks in 1 turn looking ass.
No. That's not the Weave Knight part. You decided to make me a fighter, an Echo Knight fighter, and give me spells still from the Weave Knight class. Oh yeah, I'm
That
gonna
was
take away the
before.
Weave Knight class, but you can keep your spells because I don't have to take them away from you. You alright? So I attack 8 times because I cast haste on myself.
Before. That was before the Echo Knight. That was. I remember this fucking clearly as clear
I was a
as
pirate.
day.
I was an Echo Knight fighter. Weave Knight can only attack 2 times.
I call bullshit because you also had feats that you still have.
Yeah, Polar
Judge?
Master.
Judge, check his deck. Check his deck.
Deck check.
Deck check. But that was my only bad experience. Purely because I enjoy playing high level. But rules as written, sure, we also have a shit ton of home rules and some things that we cater to because like it's more fun than rules as written. But that's the problem that I have with high level is because in lower levels it's a fucking death fight every single time. Whenever you're fighting up to level 6, you're expecting to see the Reaper. After like 7 level forward, you're kind of God, pretty much, and it's like there's no fucking in between. And so when level 11, which is where I started playing at high level with this guy and some other people from the guild, I was having a very hard time because I wanted to make things the right way or the mechanical way, whatever you want to call it, right? Because everyone fudged, bless you, everyone fudged a dice roll or 2 or added an extra 0 in an HP bar. Like, we've all been there. That's a quintessential DM experience. But at some points, there might be a session where you want to be a little bit more structured. Sure, you have all of the power and you should prioritize fun and narrative over mechanics, in my opinion, any day. But there are some days where you want to have some structure because either everything feels too chaotic or maybe there was a little bit of a brick loose in the narrative and the players are going a little bit maybe too crazy, or they're kind of power walking everything. So you feel the need to maybe tone it down and still kind of tone it down, but still keep your players in, keep their enjoyment, so they're having fun, engaged, so they have options, right? I am obviously session 0 is where I talk about these things, but I am one of those DMs that I will change your class. But obviously I have your previous consent before you start the campaign that at some point, if shit happens, especially if you're on the warlocky, clericy bullshittery, that there might come a time where you will be a different race if you die, or a class, because narratively it makes sense, right? If you're going to make a pact with someone else's patron to help a deceased boyfriend to another character from another player that died, motherfucker, you are going to turn into a warlock. You're not just going to have that narrative little fucking, oh, nice, little spice, narrative thing. Like, no, word, by word, you're making a pact, you're making a contract, an agreement, if you want to boil it down to something more simpler. You're making an agreement with a larger entity, a very dubious entity that is actually someone else's warlock patron. What do you think is going to happen, right? And if anyone tells this to the player in question, because some people know, it's not like a shot. It's just like an actual. I'm using that as an example. That is going to happen, and it's going to have mechanical repercussions where you're going to change class. And I like having that because it's basically mechanics and narrative both playing off of each other or with each other, basically. Like they're both together as they should be. One should elevate the other, or at some point just kind of work together to tell that story. And what I did with Aryn was he was a Weave Knight, and the Weave Knight was already feeling very broken for me, even though the class itself is good. But that's not a problem with Weave Knight, it's a problem with high level D&D. And at that point, we didn't have 2024 version yet, I believe. So we were still going with some 2014 rules and some mix of home rules. And it was still the same resounding problem of high-level combat. Everything is a fucking cakewalk. So narratively, some shit happened. And okay, because they're in a world that is basically a world that you can find splits or echoes of other characters from other worlds. From, this was discussed briefly in the previous talks with Jo. But I can include some. You will never know when, but there will come a time where a character that you created, your own PC. Let's say Afonso had an NPC or a PC that I played with, or maybe didn't play with. I just heard him talk about it, and Afonso is playing with me in my table, and I'm describing a character, and something is happening, and then it clicks for him. Wait, that's my character. That's my character from 5 years ago in that campaign where I did this and that. Oh, dude, that's cool, right? Stuff like that. Basically, that's kind of like the context for the world. And so obviously, with that whole split echo thing of other characters, there's gonna be some bullshittery where, whenever it comes to death, there's going to be an element of that in there. And what happened with Aryn was basically when he challenged what was essentially a general level dragon hunter, he basically got dog walked, lack of a better word, and died. But because of things that happened in the narrative with all of the echoes and all of that, he himself got turned into a dragon egg because he was dragon touched, so he had that one arm that was scaled, and when he hatched from his egg, he was basically now a were-dragon. He's a dragonborn by day, a half-elf by night, which was his original race, and changed the class because of that whole experience that he basically got Doctor Strange knocked into the echoes and the doors of different possibilities in different worlds and parallel worlds and all of that. And that's the context of why he turned from a Weave Knight into an Echo Knight, right? So far, so good. Narratively, that's cool. But then the fucking mechanics kick in, and I throw in a mini boss or something cool that is supposed to incite fear and like, oh, guys, we need to do something about it. And this motherfucker comes in, hold my ale, fucking Kagebunshi no Jutsu, and fucking dog walks everything I throw at him. So it's hard in that sense for me to like comment on Homebrew, because depending on what level we're talking about, it's a blur for me, and everything is the same and nothing's balanced. So like everything is a fucking horror story at some point. So like that's usually the my take on it. Or not my take, my experience with like Homebrew horror stories. That's why I really like Daggerheart, because it kind of it doesn't have the same issue. Let's put it that way. It has other issues, but it does not have that issue, and it's just it's great. It's great.
Before we move on to the final question, I'm just going to share mine because it's hilarious still to this day. I gave my players, I like to give my players dumb magic items. And when I say dumb magic items, I gave a party of mine while we were playing D&D a magical notebook that took notes by itself, but from its own perspective. So basically, if the notebook was inside the backpack, it'll start writing like, it's dark and moist in here. I can smell a pear rotting in the corner of the backpack. And there were some players, when I gave them the notebook, they were like, we don't know what to do with this, but thanks, I guess. And it took them like 10 minutes until somebody decided to like tie a little fishing line to it, yoink it inside the room where there was a very important meeting happening, and use it as a surveillance mechanism. It literally took them 10 minutes to get a book as an inside ear in an important meeting that they couldn't join. So, player creativity, go figure.
They're either dumb and can't open doors, or pull that shit.
Yeah, there's no in between.
Checks out.
Yeah, moving on for the final question. Just very one for each. What's your advice for baby GMs when it comes to running campaigns, be it published, homebrew, or both? So. I'm gonna do it like in class. I'm gonna pick someone.
Honestly, you might. I think whenever you ask a question, all of us are like, I have so many opinions or none at all. So give me a second for it to form.
Santos, you're muted, by the way, Santos.
The question is either start with homebrew or modules, right? In this case,
like if you have any advice for like new GMs on running campaigns, it can be homebrew, published, whatever it is, just in general.
So my opinion is that the most important thing is that you find a group that you trust, that you like to be with, where you can fail without any issue. And from there, I think you should play something that you like and the players like as well. So I would go to homebrew because I started like that. So don't care about the rules, just play something, throw some dices, get the feeling of the game, and then start learning. And because I think there's so much things that you can enjoy at your high level of ignorance on TTRPG
Yeah.
there, because you are telling a story, you are living a story together. That's the crucial part, I think, in my opinion. So really the rules and so on don't care too much, and if you are in a group you trust, you just go, and then you start learning and you start adjusting those parts. So that was my experience. So yeah, my advice and opinion.
Once Storydad, Alexey.
Yeah, yeah. I do have something. I think that whatever you're thinking about, GMing, especially if you're GMing for the first time, I think it's quite irrelevant if you want to do your own thing or if you want to go modular or pre-written or something. What I would say is find something that excites you. If you really like Stranger Things, copy that shit. Just copy it. Steal it. Theft is an art by itself. And it's perfectly fine. Try. I mean, there are obviously very good games out there. If you what I found is that most players and GMs will like to play the thing not for the mechanics, but for what type of story they can tell with it. So, if your story is one of finding community within I don't know, queer strife, for example, you might want to start with Dream Askew, Dream Apart. If the type of thing that you're looking for is fight big bad, deal lots of damage, even Dungeons and Dragons would not be my recommendation. I mean, there are so many simpler games that you can go towards, but most likely what I'd recommend is find what type of story you want to play, and you want to tell. Start telling it, and then as you start to tell that same story, allow the rest of the people at the table to tell it alongside you. And be that as it may, if you want cowboys, go for cowboys. You can get cowboys on any system. You don't need a game specifically for cowboys. You can just take, for example, quests where you have a single D20 and that's it. Or you can go for a very strategic and crunchy thing like Fabula Ultima because you love JRPGs and that's your shit. And find what interests you, find what you like, and go nuts at it. You don't need to know everything before running. You can sit at a table and start learning, like everyone learn at the same time. Just read the book at the table, figure it out, start playing, start telling a story, and that's it.
Learning from experience.
By the way, Undead Wood. Speaking of cowboys,
I'm a frontier
kinda-
skin myself. Yeah.
yeah, Dead in the West, Deadwood. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Honestly, you pretty much summarized what I was already thinking because I only had two things that I wanted to kind of like maybe say or advise. And the first one would be the crime of stealing. Just steal as much as you can, kit bash. You don't have to steal the entire thing. Sometimes you can just steal the rims of a car. You don't need the car. You know, you can build your own car. Steal parts of a Lamborghini and then
FBI.
Figuratively, not literally, figuratively. You know, you can steal parts of a Ferrari, a BMW, and a Fiat Pinto. Like, go crazy. Like, it's up to you what you want, and steal exactly what you need, or exactly what Afonso said there, what excites you. You might have an idea or a world that you love and have been developing, or even if you don't, right? You still have your preferences, you still have your own opinions of things that you like and dislike. So lean to those things. And basically, don't pick what is mainstream. Don't pick what is the typical entryway. Sure, D&D is your quintessential, TTRPG for starters, but in reality, it really isn't. It depends absolutely only on what you want to tell, what story you want to tell with your friends, and what type of experience you're looking for. Maybe you don't want to have long campaigns. Maybe you want to have one shots or short campaigns. Like that's up to the individual. And the actual advice I would say is just do research. Just see what don't jump blindfolded into a system. And when I say research, I don't mean like study the rules. I mean look what fits what you want. If you want to tell a short story that is a little bit more on that paranormal vibe that kind of, is in that steampunkish Victorian vibe, dude, go Candela Obscura. Like if you want to tell like a fantasy story long term, you have MCDM, you have Pathfinder. Sure, you also have D&D, but now you also have Daggerheart. You also have from our other fantastic Matthew Colville, I already Draw Steel. You have so many systems that cater to any given genre or every genre. So go with that. Don't go with the mainstream. Look for the system that caters to your needs, your wants, and what excites you, and just everything else, steal. That's it's probably the most common advice you'll hear. But yeah, also don't take yourself too seriously. It's exactly what Santa said. Find a group as well that you trust and that you can fail with, because that is going to take off the edge. That's going to help with your anxiety as a GM. Even if you're the most confident person on earth, you are going to be shitting bricks whenever you're in front of the GM screen, starting a session from scratch with no experience. 99% of the times that's going to happen. So have a group that you can trust and find something that caters to you.
Storydad.
Play games. It's going to sound super simple, but there is an entire world of insanely accessible TTRPGs that you can get your hands on. If you have any interest at all, whether you learned it from, your parents, your siblings, your friend group, the internet, Critical Role, other APs, whether you learned it from, pieces of media, any books that are like D&D centrics, whether you've learned it from like anime, where they're playing tabletop role-playing games, et cetera, like any of those things. Pick up a book, read it, play it. Find a friend group, start playing, use online boards, there's wonderful assets for community building and table building when it comes to playing TTRPGs. Can't find a friend group, you're an introvert, you don't want to, you have like small amounts of time that you can't spare for scheduling, et cetera, there are solo TTRPGs out there that are a ton of fun to play, which will help you cut your teeth on TTRPGs as a medium that you can interact with. It will, it can do anything from be a once in a while, every so often hobby that you sort of dip your toes in, to something that will quite literally change the entire trajectory of your life. There are artists that make insane amounts of money off of TTRPG art, being in big productions, like things like Daggerheart, things like the Cosmere RPG, all of the stuff that WotC does, et cetera. You can become a writer, you can be an AP producer, there's so many different avenues to curate a professional portfolio based around this. There's so much goodness that can come out of TTRPGs. If you're interested even at all, I think you just need to do yourself a favor. Use the power of limitless information that is in all of our pockets and find a way to play TTRPGs. Do that and don't wait. Do it today.
Pretty much. And yeah, I don't think I have anything to add to this because you have already covered most of the topics that I thought you would. Other than have fun, go out there, have a blast with your friends or alone, as Storydad said, because solo TTRPGs are a thing and they are actually really cool.
True.
But yeah, so that's it for today's stream. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight on this talk. And I want to thank my wonderful guests for their presence here tonight. I hope you had a good time. It was a huge pleasure to have you here at the Guild's channel. And if you missed this talk or you wish to rewatch, worry not. We will post it on our YouTube channel, and you can also listen to it on Spotify. For our viewers, join us tomorrow for a new cartographer stream, and next week it's the premiere of the Guild's new campaign, where we're going to dive in on the World of Warcraft in this new West Marches style game, run in Legends in the Mist system, DM'd by me, where I will be the narrator. And join us Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. GMT, and this campaign will be bi-weekly. And also next week, another episode of Curse of Strahd and another Guild talk for this new Gamemaster Month. Thank you once again to our guests. Thank you for watching. And see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
See you, goodbye.
Whoa, raid,
Thank you.
Raid.
Stay for the raid and click this under the chat so Twitch knows you're here. I forgot about that. God damn. Anyways, bye-bye, guys.